first pick priority. That remains the same for most teams here. That means for Vici, the 200 champion, that'll get locked in.
And I imagine they're going to go for a jungler here as well for Leon. At least that's the normal protocol here. You don't really want to show out too much when it comes to the likes of your support matchup, because actually now your support matchup can make quite a big difference on how that bottom lane interacts, but also the rest of the goings on when you want to start looking at those roles.
But let's quickly talk about Leon as his debut performance, because he was a Lee Sin player. He is a carry-style jungler. What is he going to pick here on Vici?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we start to see something like the Graves, the Nidalees. I think he looked really good on Nidalee on IG, so I want to see him go back towards that style.
Banned, unfortunately, but the Graves you mentioned is a good point.
Yeah, I think Graves would be an excellent lockup here. It does mean, though, that you may struggle a little bit to get on towards the likes of this Ezreal, but still a wonderful jungler at the moment that does dictate the pace of that jungle super well.
Well, the priority, though, does go to Vici's bottom lane first. So Hung picks up the Thresh. That means it's the pick of the litter for the junglers here for V5. And Weiwei on Graves so far has looked pretty damn good. I was just going over his stats a little bit earlier. This is one of his most played. Has a pretty good KDA as well, while Bubu just facilitates. This is looking more like the V5 comp that we've seen so far.
And now we've got an Ornn mixed into that as well. It's not the Renekton that Bubu has been playing. He's had 6 games on that so far. But now going over towards the Ornn, this works super well. You've got this nice engage tool that you can sit in the top lane. And now finally the LPL is starting to realize, hey, look, this Ornn's actually a pretty good champion. He's now sitting at the second most picked and banned in that top lane. So it's nice to see the Forge Master getting a little bit of play.
You're going to see the Trundle first, though. So Luyen is picking up something pretty standard here. There's no variation of change between junglers, while Dagda, it's time to ban some solo laners. What do you reckon?
Well, I imagine if I'm looking at this Ornn pick, V5, you need to start looking to ban away the likes of the Kaels and these kind of things, because Vici already have a comp that can do reasonably well when it comes to scaling with the Aphelios, and Kael just gets such a free lane against Ornn, and Vici can just double down on this scale into the future.
But I think it's pretty smart from Vici to get rid of the Twisted Fate, which has already been picked up by Mole 2 times. Something that's worked pretty well alongside the Ornn here in the LPL. Mordekaiser is going to get removed, so that's one of them. You mentioned the Kael before. We'll keep our eyes on that for V5, while for Vici, it's another question of mid laner or support.
Yeah, so the thing is, for both these squads, you haven't really shown a huge amount with your draft so far. A lot of these guys are still fairly flexible on how you want to play this game, so there's not really a huge amount that you want to start banning away or, solidifying or getting away from a certain composition on either side. So it's more just generalistic bans that we're seeing at the moment.
Which is why it's interesting to see the Karma as the final ban here for Vici Gaming. PP God, we know he plays it. We know most importantly that for PP God, spellcasters are in there, but he can also revert back to things like the Thresh in the past, the Nautilus as well. But V5, Dagda, you said Kael.
I think the Kael would just work super well. Well, similar scaling idea coming in for Forge, but I think there is the opportunity here for Cube to go towards something like that, Kael. And even if you really want to, you can try and go for something like the Galio in the mid lane. Super strong. You haven't got to worry too much about getting dove on massively, and you provide a little bit of safety for the follow-up that's inevitably going to come through with this Ornn trying to get on top of you. Same with this Graves. So, okay.
Top lane is going to be 2 boys button heads. That's fun.
Yeah, we are slowly tending back towards seeing a few more of these tanks come in. Sion, we did see him play a couple of times into the Wukong matchup, but Sion's just super strong. I mean, if you are going to look to scaling into the late game, Sion is just such a super tank in that regard.
Well, for V5, they say, okay, you can pick the Sion. They want the full engage. Look at the wombo built up by these 3 champions in a row. PP got on his Bard as well. The fans have been a fan of this one.
Yeah, and now you've got some really nice engage tools here where obviously you've got the Tempered Fate to set up these big engages alongside the Ornn. You've got some nice damage that can come through from the Graves and the Ezreal to supplement the damage you're missing from this Galio. So overall, a nice front-to-back teamfighting style coming out from V5. And now we got to see what Vici want to try and solidify here. You do have the Sion going up towards the top, so they're going to go with Sylas for Forge here in the mid lane. And this isn't the worst pick. You do get a nice easy lane against the Galio, and then you've got both the Galio ults you can take, you've got the Ornn ultimate you can steal away as the Sylas as well. So you're basically looking, as you said, about not only the top laners looking to butt heads, but these 2 teams are going to want to butt heads as well.
But I will say, in terms of mega scaling, we've got a bit with Sylas with the Sion frontline as well. Everything changes, of course, though, when you have an Ornn, but I'm curious because Vici there have built themselves up to do a bit of skirmishing. Camille again.
I feel like the scaling is reasonably similar on both sides. I know you've got a Felios there who's going to do great, but at least when you've got Ornn and he's able to give across a couple of these ornaments, it kind of skews the scaling a little bit. So when we look towards those super late game, it's more so going to be coming down to this execution. How do people try and play around some of these big engage tools like the Galio ults, the Ornn ults on, well, both sides now, and how useful Sion can be in these fights, because I feel like when I look towards a Graves who can dash around fairly freely with the quick draw, you've got those arcane shifts for the Ezreal, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Sion to have these big decimating smashes to try and find the right pick with his ultimate, or at least getting onto some of the backline. So I'm curious to see how this Sion is going to do for Q.
It's a great question, because at the end of the day in the LPL, it's all about setup. You know, we use scaling very loosely because it's all the setup for the fight, especially for Vici here. Giving space to iBoy towards that late game could be the benefactor, right? How does Forge play on the Silas? How does he get his way in?
Well, I think that's the big thing, right? Forge wants to dive into the mix here alongside Cube, alongside Leanne. You've got Mole here on the Galio who can do a great job of just slam dunking every single one of them, bopping them up, so then you buy enough time for the backline. It becomes very difficult for a lot of these melee champions to operate in fights when you've got the likes of an Ornn, when you've got this Galio there as well. It becomes a bit messy.
We got Mafia Graves. Let's go. Back on the field of justice. It's still Mafia Graves.
Ironic, isn't
it's
it?
Mafia Graves.
Mafia Graves on the fields of justice.
It's still Mafia Graves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And look, it's always going to be Mafia Graves. Interesting is PP God. He's gone Astro Bard here once again with the pink chroma. Now, here in the LPL, you know, that's actually the most popular skin for our bards. So well done. We got new Guardian on Bard as well, as you were talking about a couple of days ago, Dagda. He'd be a big fan of the new changes.
Yeah, Guardian is fantastic at the moment. You've got an extra little bit of range there going from 175 to 350, which makes such a massive difference for setting yourself up in just the correct position to try and save a few of your teammates. Plus as well, the trigger condition changing, so it's now that 90 to 250 post-mitigation damage means it doesn't just randomly proc in lane and you're like, oh, God's sakes. But now you've actually got a little bit more utility there where you can try and use it more intuitively.
To add points to that as well, I will say for Hung, it's nice in the matchup because with Flay, with the passive that comes through from your auto attack, that's about 90 damage. That should be able to proc it. So that's a cool little interaction that we now have to keep track of to see if that truly is the way it goes. Ward's going to be spotting out the start here for Leyen towards the top side. It was Wei who put it down, then went back, and I believe picked up a sweeper. We got some handsome men down the bottom of the screen, but that's not what I'm interested in right now. We've got Trade in the mid. Did he get the sweeper? Yes, he did. He did the old trinket play. And right now, Wei is towards the bottom side of the map.
Wei would just be looking to try and go for a full clear here. Probably go Raptors into looking for that scuttle on bottom side, and then can go back up towards the top, see if he can double scuttle. But with the way iBoy and Hung are pushing in here, they should be able to help out on that scuttle timer. So it might actually work out pretty nicely here for Vici, where they might be able to force Wei off of some of these scuttles.
And see how Leyen can play towards his favorite side of the map. Right now, going back and doing the rest of his clear. We're going across the lanes. You can see already Bubu has found a pretty big CS lead. Ornn against Sion. It's going to be fun up there, boys. But I will say Ornn is an assassin, so of course he wins. He wins every matchup. It's
been so long since we've seen this wet noodle fight in the top lane, though. It's been bruisers for such a long time.
That ain't a wet noodle. Ornn is a spicy meatball. There is no way Ornn is any kind of noodle that does no damage. It's still insane. As Leyen is going to show us insanity himself. Mole's on the wrong side of the rift, but it is towards Wei. Really good pathing from Mole, walking up towards his jungler.
Smart from Forge not to continue that as well, because if he followed up with the chains, there's always the potential that Wei will be there, and now he's going to force Leyen back here.
The pillar placement also nice. Puts him away, but that means Wei just has free roam over the Scuttle Crab.
So when we look at these comps, I'm looking at V5 and when they start to come online. You're looking about that, 15 to 20 minute mark, you start to get a couple of these items in check. But I want to see what happens with Mo when he does hit this level 6 points. How does he try and influence the map? Because you're not really going to be able to do too much with PP God and Sam D down here. This is a very passive lane, essentially. So, and then you're looking towards that top side with Bubu, and you're like, well, you're trying to take down a Scion with an Ornn. Galio is probably not going to end too well. So I want to see how he supports Weiwei, because I feel like the idea here for V5 is to have Weiwei consistently invading onto Lian, just trying to be a nuisance for this Trundle, and then have that Galio to support him on both sides of the jungle so he can invade.
Sheer amount of damage that comes out of Weiwei and Mole when they hit those crucial points as well as, yep, the cameraman gets baited. This is the thing I don't miss, is when, you know, we had our tank versus tank top all the time, the observers are like, oh, there's some action here, but it's really not much.
What you gotta watch is for the grasp of the Undying trades. That's why we're looking at this very back and forth. It's all about that auto spacing.
Yeah.
This is true League of Legends, is there?
This is what we've been missing in live. Cube actually doing pretty good at showing us how the trade could go as well. There's a level difference as well. Searing charge. Never mind what I'm saying. Pew is quite low. No jungle interference available. Force off the wave for now.
Yes, Cube doing a reasonably good job, and this is the thing, Sion is actually pretty strong in lane. A lot of people forget because we don't see him very often. The amount of abuse that can come out from his abilities, plus you've got that shield that can also do damage and absorb a whole heap, which is why you often see the Corrupting Potion start, because you just trade so efficiently against everyone else.
Mole walking in here for the Shield of Duran. Good Dark Passage. Lian wanted to invade the space. He got a little bit, but Weiwei will clean up the rest. So trying to play aggressive towards that bottom side, goes back to his jungler, and Lian has just been bottom side pretty much the whole time. Camping around, shattering around this dragon, and the bottom lane that you mentioned was pushing in.
Yeah, I was curious to see how he was going to try and play down towards this bottom side. Lian did get that scuttle though, so it's not going to be a double scuttle for Weiwei, which he would have loved, but Forge and Mole trading them in. I'm watching Weiwei, because again, when we look at the way these junglers play, it's always been with the support of their supports. Hung and PP God getting involved, but we won't have too much from PP God in this matchup, so it'll be more on Hung to get out and start roaming around the map.
I will say though, PP God is moving upwards as Weiwei and Mole start this invade. The big chicken stolen away. That was revenge for what Lian achieved towards the bottom side of the map. PP God goes back to lane, and that's said and done. A slower early game, but you know what? With the way these comps and the way you set them up, dagged up, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can do. I mean, Sam D is wanting to get up towards a couple of items. As an Ezreal, it sucks trying to fight when you've got tier plus something else, because you know that iBoy has put, even though he's a Felios, a whole bunch of gold into pickaxes and BF swords, and you're looking down at this little crystal that doesn't do anything. So for Vici, they're happy to go for plays like this because they know, as of right now, they're going to be in good shape, especially with iBoy shoving into this bottom side.
The Arcane shifts forward. That was precarious, but it's all fine, said and done. The Dragon to be taken quite easily here by Vici. There's no Herald available for now. That's a 1 versus 2, but iBoy insists on going forward. Hung ready for the death sentence. Sam D doesn't even need to dodge that one.
There was a super cheesy strat you used to be able to do with Sion that we saw quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, I suppose. It was a little bit.
You're not going to talk about
US
inching to a turret, are you?
No, it was actually an old school one. This has gone back like maybe 3 years ago, where what you used to do is the second you hit this level 6 mark, you would back, you shoved the wave, you'd back, and before you had tanks that could push waves really effectively like Ornn, you used to be able to go for this level 6, run down bot lane and try and pick up some kills, but it's not a thing too much anymore.
Well, he might have to run away now. Yeah, he is there. Hero's entrance from Mole was pretty bad.
And this is what we were talking about, is that it actually becomes super difficult for you to try and gank onto this Sion. That unstoppable charge can get out so effectively. Unless you manage to get a pillar in his way by some miracle or get a body in his way, he's going to be able to do that over and over. Now you've got a big ultimate burnt by Mole, same with Bubu, and not really much happening for V5 so far.
You got to remember that Cube didn't have to burn anything apart from that flash. The teleport's still available. He stayed in lane, shoved it out, and reset, so not a loss that you can see on your screen. Mole, without the ulti you mentioned, has to walk back to lane 2. Pings are now going down from V5 towards the Rift Herald that has just spawned. But Cube has stayed in lane. He has a shove there yet again. Forge is missing, and the bottom lane of Vici are rotating.
I was hoping that iBoy would actually stay in the bottom lane. So V5 usually do rotate all 5 members here, but if you're Vici, I leave iBoy in the bottom lane, he shoves in, we just trade more turret plates. You've already got 1 down, you can just get a couple more onto this Aphelios and start scaling into the later stages. We've seen a lot of teams just forego these Rift Herald plates because, well, we don't really care. We're just going to pick up those turret plates anyway, so have the Herald, waste time not farming your jungle or farming your lanes, and you still come out ahead.
Well, PP God's the one to check here. Good dodge away from the extra bit of Calibrum. Sam D now on his lonesome as well. Bit of a nuisance for Vici Gaming, and they're actually backing away, rather pulling the Herald towards Le Yan, as it's only Sam D and PP God. Wei not in position to steal. The thumbs go up from like everyone, and Vici will take the Herald successfully.
Yeah, so you can see top laners had already rotated down to the bottom lane, so all that golden experience was picked up there, and we're going to have basically opposite sides of the match, our map for both of our laners here. So not too much going on so far, and we'll have to see how this Rift Tower does get used by Vici. Ideally, again, trying to shove this gold into iBoy is your best bet.
Yeah, Helios getting farm. What's new?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, especially this comp, like, Forge isn't going to be your main carry with this Silas at any point in time, so give your gold to the AD carry.
It's kind of funny how, if you've been watching the LCK recently, their games have sped up. Like, there's a lot more skirmishing, there's a lot more blood. With the LPL, some of our teams still, like, compositions like this where everything is quite slow for a while. Now, we are 10 minutes in, so I don't expect that to continue because Hung's been caught out. He has to flash away over the wall. The Shield of Duran catches him on the exit path as well. The Death Sentence delays time, but the collateral damage gives V5 first blood over to Wei. Well, iBoy and Loyan under turret versus 4. V5 are going to leave it at that.
And this is why you got to love PP God. He will make plays happen when he gets his hand on these playmaking supports. Getting into the enemy jungle, working with Mole and Wei, managing to pick up first blood. And this is why it's so crucial in making sure you lock down the vision control for yourself against V5, because they're happy to keep doing this.
You give the Graves, who in this jungle matchup wanted to go steadier. Wei is going to feel pretty happy about that. He's already set up for the Warriors and Chan on his next back, and this is going to be a good lead for V5 to play through. A 500 gold lead here at 10 minutes.
You got the 10-minute code coming in from Sam D as well, so I don't think he's really looking to fight anytime soon. It does mean, though, that, like, again, we'll be seeing a little bit of a slower pace game, which we kind of expected, but we are still getting Vici trying to accelerate a little bit, but getting this Rift Herald gold into iBoy.
I mean, there's no trade here, so the Herald is going to get the turret plating. First turret blood as well with an Aphelios nearby, very likely through the next wave, as iBoy going to be pretty happy picking this one up.
V5 very late on way they want to rotate. Yubu stuck down in that bottom lane, doesn't rotate in time. Now, you're always a little bit scared of, obviously, Vici going for some sort of dive play, but at least having the Ornn here to use the Call of the Forge got to clear the wave meant they wouldn't have been able to take that terror, but Yubu sticking around a little bit too long.
Oh no, I've seen this before. This reminds me of SMLZ and the Shy. If anyone goes back into some of our top clips on the LPL Twitch channel, it was 2019 spring. It was the Shy versus SMLZ, who was on Suning at the time. And his Ezreal got outplayed by, I think it was a Glacial Augment Scion.
Yeah.
Good time.
So
when the Shy wasn't playing horrendously.
He's not having a fun time at all.
Dude, he is not looking good. And I bet Loyan's like, ha, now I'm on Vici. Maybe there's more potential here, as he almost gets caught out with the Cosmic Binding, but Dragon being started.
So this is actually pretty big for Vici. They stopped the back from Sam D, which means he hasn't picked up his items, whereas you got that first item completed across the board here for Vici. So they're in a really good place to spot.
Tempered Fate is available, almost steals away. Good Dark Passage, and the Tempered Fate misses from PP God. Worth the shot, but V5 go away empty-handed.
I'm surprised Vici aren't trying to fight here. You actually have a lot of strength built up because Sam D never got that back off, but deciding not to go for it instead. They're just happy to get the dragon. And now we're looking at our Mountain Soul as well. So when we've got two super tanks in the top lanes, and you got Leanne there as well, this is definitely a dragon both teams will be
This was the 5-head play from V5. They're like, we know it's going to be a Mountain Soul.
Yeah,
so let's let them get the first two. And then our Galio, our Ornn will feel very good with 4 mountains in a row.
That's the plays you get when you go. It's part of the 5Bs for victory, right?
Which one does this come under?
It's got to be versatile. Be versatile, adapt. Except it's be like mountain this time around, not be like water.
Oh, okay.
Be like mountain, yeah.
Be like mountain.
Strong.
Stable, strong, earth. As you're looking at gold on the left-hand side of your screen now. I'm pointing that out because iBoy is pretty large this game. It's been quiet down in that bottom lane, but he's been farming away. He got the Rift Herald play up towards that top side you saw before. As Gravitum's there, but Hung doesn't want to commit forward. Sam D is being ultra aggressive. True Shot Barrage does not connect, but turret plates yet again taken from iBoy, and they will expire in 30 seconds. So next wave coming in, and V5 are grouping up to deny.
So the thing I like here, what Vici have done is, by getting a couple of these early dragons, they have set themselves up where, as this game starts to go on, I know a couple of those Mountain Dragons going over for V5 will be super nice, but at least the first one, maybe two, you don't really have to contest them because you're still waiting for iBoy to get to a couple of items. You want Forge to get to where he's nice and beefy and can survive a good chunk of the return damage he's going to get coming into these scraps. So if you just hang on a little bit and let iBoy get to those 3 items, you're going to be in much better shape. So there's no real timer or pressure on Vici now to try and enact anything on the map because V5 have just matched this slow game.
I mean, Aphelios with 3 items, right? We know. I think there's going to be some serious thinking over the next couple of patches because surely he gets touched up again, right? Surely Aphelios will lose a bit more damage, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. You never really know what way Riot are working, to be honest. Like,
no, it's not criticism. I just think he's very strong.
I personally would not argue with the amount of experience on the Riot games.
Yeah, no.
So,
hey,
I don't know.
We're okay. We're positive here. But more importantly, I touch up because, like, seriously, I think still Aphelios is a fun champion, and I'm not being sarcastic here. He's actually a fun champion to play. As Weiwei and Luyan meet up, but I'm waiting for the next champion. I haven't heard anything yet, Dagda.
Well, I think the thing, the next champion, yeah, I'm not sure. I think, wasn't there something like it's a jungler, I want to say?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe? Maybe I could be wrong with that, but
Forge. Well, Mole has to pick a side, and he's got the help of PP Gold. The flash immediately burned. The ultimate stolen from Forge. That means he can use it right on top of him if he wants. On top, but he gets his jungler. The Dark Passage can only save one. And now Luyan locked up. Cube is in as well. But for V5, they're grouped up. The first kill goes on over. And Mole, invulnerable, but taken down by Cube in the end. While the flash away goes in and Forge re-engages. This is so damn messy because Sam D's on the back line, taking him apart. It's only iBoy left alive with a triple kill going over to Weiwei. And iBoy re-engaging might not be the play as Zombie Scion to try and find up Wei. What the heck? This champion, I'm done. I'm not commentating this. We're going to reset. That was a trade back from iBoy.
Whatever about the end of that fight.
That's
Forge
stupid.
he just gave that entire fight over to V5. BB was happily farming top lane, and they went, wait, there's 2 people frozen right here for me? Great, here's Call of the Forge God. Have our free win in this team fight.
I'll just wait for that replay at this point because I don't know what you call Forge re-engaging. What are the 5 V's of Vici Gaming?
What, like,
ferociousness.
Everyone on V5 was grouped. If he just tosses it at the members of V5, you're good. You get out. All you have is PP God who can't really do very much as a bard.
Vanity.
But instead he just tosses it on top of himself.
And V5 do a quick reset. Weiwei now has 4 kills as a Graves jungle, so it's safe to say he's pretty fed. And picking up the Rift Herald, even in vision of Vici Gaming, there's nothing they can do. The second objective's going to go over, and now with the Dragon coming up in 15 seconds, this is going to be interesting because V5 hold the cards.
Sorry, I will compose myself.
The observer doesn't even want to give us a replay.
Look,
we're not giving you that one.
You all know what happened.
I just want to see how iBoy, was it Sam D who died? It was.
Sam D did die. So Sam D died, and I think and Mole died as well.
Someone died to iBoy.
That was Sam D. So Sam D came actually in a good flank position, tried to picked off Hung, and then tried to go against iBoy who had Severum and had the Calibrum. So managing to take too much damage, then the Calibrum hit, so it was a dead.
Hey, call the Forge Gods available. I'm going to have to interrupt you because Vici have started the Dragon. There's Hung with the Hook, but the Rift Herald's going to be used in River. Now the engage starts. The Tempered Fate locks down Luyan and the Dragon. The re-engage comes in. The Arcane Shift into the wall. They look for the seal. They find it. It's Sandu who picks it up, and V5 are now in the pit. Can they escape? Because Bubu at half health. Everyone separated with Hung with a great re-engage hook onto PP God, but everything's torn. iBoy's trying to carry this fight, and that's exactly what he's doing because over the wall, Sam D has to walk away. PP God is out as well, with Hung following through the magical journey, and that was a weird interaction with iBoy. Dragon for a weird fight.
It was a strange fight because when you look towards Cube, he's actually so incredibly tanky right now. And Sam D, when you're on an Ezreal like this, can struggle to get through these tanks, right? If you always want these crit AD carries when you see a lot of these super tanks coming in. And unfortunately, that's not what Ezreal provides. He can still go towards the likes of Blade of the Rune King rather than maybe your Death Dance as a third item and try and help in taking down Cube. But it's really difficult to take down this Grasp of the Undying Scion.
That Rift Herald went on a bit of a journey from river to mid turret, and he actually picked it up. So that feels pretty nice of your V5 for the bit of extra gold. Gold is even, by the way, and has been for the past 8 or so minutes. The mountain picked up. That's bonus stats for the Ornn, who is edging towards that level 14 mark. It's 14 now, isn't it? Or 13?
Yeah, 13 from South, 14.
13. Okay, cool. So 13 is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, he's getting towards a nice little spot. And again, this is where Vici are still finding a little bit of an advantage when it comes towards team fights, and a lot of that gold is being funneled on towards iBoy. So you can see Infinity Edge, that Zeal item as well, so he'll be looking to get that Ruin's Hurricane and the Phantom Dancer before he starts approaching these fights. But once he does, and well, probably a Last Whisper as well to help get through Worm, but he'll still be in a really good spot. Whereas I'm curious to see now how Sam D can operate in these fights, because I feel like he nearly needs to get away from Cube and start dealing damage onto Forge, and maybe see if he can get on a bit of damage onto iBoy as well, because if he's just firing all these Mystic shots into these big beefcakes in the front line, well, it's not really going to make too much of a difference to Vici.
I was just looking at the stat. Weiwei has 100% kill participation. I'm not sure what the second one was. I apologize. I know we do have some bilingual people in our Twitch chat, which has been very helpful in the past. If they could help me out on that one, that would be great. But Weiwei has had a pretty big performance. Again, 4-0-1, Black Cleaver in hand with the Executioner's calling. Quite large and in charge with now helping Mole in the top side turret get some more gold on this V5 lineup. There's not going to be a trade here from Vici Gaming, and there's no objectives up, bar the Baron. So with this top turret going down, it feels like V5 are going to be able to encroach on this jungle, control more of the Baron side vision, and set up for these wombos much easier that you talked about in draft.
And it feels like now they're really starting to get to grips with how they can control the jungle. You already see a bunch of vision down there that you were just pointing out. And as well, that bottom lane turret now becomes a lot more difficult to try and hold on to. But V5 will want to try and hold on to this mid lane turret and stop Vici from taking it, because if they're able to match this depth of vision, it's going to be a little bit of a problem for V5.
Okay, Tempered Fate. iBoy now locked on down. They want to find the pick, but the Cosmic Binding doesn't connect, and iBoy without an ulti. Honestly, I think we just get to the point where we ban him. Teams should just ban him. No one's banning Aphelios.
I mean, Varus is a lot stronger, to
Varus
be honest.
is strong.
Yeah. Varus is kind of silly.
I don't know about that. Watch this. Okay, not as bad as I thought. The pick's going to come through. Weiwei challenging Hung, who's been caught out once again. Call the Forge God misses narrowly as the death sentence was close as well. The exhaust onto iBoy, who flashes over the wall. They now turn onto Luyen, and it's a slow pick as the observers even confuse himself, but Mole knocks up everyone in the radius. Shield of Duran only onto the Scion, who all the attention from V5's going into. No one's dead because the beefcakes, as you named it, took it all.
Welcome back to League of Tanks, ladies and gentlemen, where Cube can sit in everyone for as long as he wants. And it's like he's in a sauna. It's a little bit uncomfortable, it gets a little bit hot, but you know what, at the end of the day, he's still fine, still comes out looking pretty. Got his second item now picked up for himself, as actually he's going to do a little bit of a recalibration on what he wants to go for, but still, you can see it's impossible for V5 to get through him until maybe Sam D gets that Blade of the Rune King, but even then, you're still going to struggle with this Scion.
I'm just waiting for replays, sir. I know I've been spoiled in the past. We haven't had any just yet, but the most important thing is I want to see how nothing happened in that fight. And you saw iBoy's damage starting to come out. He was forced to flash over the wall. And suddenly, no more Aphelios. The rest of the fight looked okay.
TP from BuBu towards mid, though. They want to make sure they're getting positioning here on this mid lane to get into river. But look at where Cube is positioned. He's got this lovely running track straight up the middle of river, where he can try and get on towards some of these V5 members.
Ultimate is up in about 10 seconds time. BuBu is the same, so both top laners going to be influential in this next fight. Cube with almost a second item. Second item with the upgrade picked up by BuBu, so he has a bit of an advantage there. Dragon being started, V5 channeling through this choke. It's a stolen hero's entrance from Forge. While Vici pull off the objective, Weiwei walks on in, but he's by himself in this pit. Luyen at half health, there's a smite still coming down to it, and it's secured by Luyen. The hero's entrance by Mole used. No, this is his time, but it's only onto Cube while Luyen has to flash away from the rest of the team. The hero's entrance, the Shield of Duran! Molly, Molly, Molly! It's V5 all the time! As iBoy wants to bring this one back, he does eventually kill the Galio. He peels back, but Weiwei is in the damn way. It's V5 again with low health bars, but this time they take the blood.
I thought that fight was going to be a disaster for V5 when BuBu wasn't able to get the ultimate off, but they managed to turn it around, and now they can turn towards this Baron if they want to. You've got enough healing that can come through from PP God to set them up.
At the very least, it's going to be tough for Forge to do anything. He's going to back away. He has TP with Hung walking down. Yeah, you talked about the healing. Precarious, but
Forge is here now, so this is going to be definitely a lot more precarious.
And he can still an ulti away. Oh, no, he's close. He's about 5 seconds away. TP on top. This is going to be Mole coming in at full health. The Baron getting low. Is it taken? Yes, it is. Smited away. Now V5 have to get out, and they have a Bard for that. Goodbye. We're going into space.
And they managed to escape scot-free, and that's why V5 are actually looking so good this year. Their team fighting is doing well. Their shot calling now showing up as well, being able to pick up that Baron. And we will get the replay of this fight. So watch BuBu here. Unfortunately, manages to get caught by the Scion straight into hook, so you can't get that big ultimate. But PP God manages to find iBoy, which sets up Mole for that incredible Shield of Durand. Taunts everyone. There's nowhere for Cube to get into the front line to absorb all this damage. So iBoy and Forge are constantly under pressure, and V5 are able to take up the team fight victory.
On blinking health bars as well. Feels bad for Cube, who's ready to go on that onslaught as the zombie Scion. But 9-4 your scoreboard. A 3K gold lead. Baron in hand. 3 minutes till that next dragon. Vici are on sole point. But it depends on how this next 2 minutes goes with Baron in hand of V5.
And that's the idea here for V5, right? Is try and pressure as effectively as they can. They have Mole down in this bottom lane to push against Cube, so they've always got the opportunity to join in with Mole at a moment's notice, despite him not having the teleport for BuBu and for Cube.
Positioning through the gaps in vision. Sam D here. He's arcane shifting forward. The size of this man, as usual. As holding the mid while the bottom wave getting set up by Mole. Now Mole does have the hero's entrance if anything happens here. The global nature of this composition is still scary for Vici. And here comes Mole with the next wave.
Yeah, so V5 are trying to have these double waves pushed. Means that then they can get full use out of this Baron buff, and it'll time nicely with them being able to find a quick back before that dragon spawn, so they just litter wards all over this jungle and then back up and spend the gold. They got Sam D.
iBoy. Turret goes out, and V5 back away. I was going to say, before the FLICKR did what he did, topside is slow pushing as well, so all would have come together nicely, but I guess V5 pushed a little bit too hard.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sam D gets caught out there, and means that now you've got a bit of respite for Vici, who can go and clear out this top wave, which would have been a massive nuisance when this Baron was spawning, and they're also able to push back against this Baron push, so V5 not able to solidify any more advantages.
And we've got 30 seconds left of Baron, a Baron that has not been a big power play whatsoever. Lian gets back on the map towards the Baron pit for Scuttle. Dragons up in a minute 15. And Vici aren't out of this just yet. We're even looking at comparisons. I mean, iBoy is the big speaking point here in this first game one. He's got 3 items now, the Phantom Dancer, the Double Zeal.
And I think the mistake here from Sam D is that going towards, he's just working towards his death stance. I really think you do need to start getting towards that Blade of the Rune King. Talked about how difficult it is for him to get through Cube, even through Lian, and although the death stance is super nice in keeping you alive.
Oh, he's been caught out. Flashes away after the Arcane Shift. The real Call the Forge God lay it down, but that is nothing. A disengage ulti by V5. A bit has been burnt here. 30 seconds from the Dragon.
We do have Mole, though. If you look at his flash, will be up soon. So they still can look to use his flash engage as a big tool if they want, following up on top of PP God's Tempered Face.
But they can't get through the wave clear right now coming from iBoy and the rest of Vici Gaming. And as you mentioned, the front line from Cube and everyone else, the Tempered Fate on top of Hung. Sam D has Arcane shifted forward while the rest of V5 are coming in for the flank. That was so ambitious, but it worked out well. Hung had to flash away. 10 seconds from Dragon, he has to reset.
But Hung can still play back in this and still at least be a part of it when he does get his back off and come back towards this Dragon. V5 aren't going towards it instantly to try and force a 4v. Oh, sorry, they have. I was wondering if we were seeing Vici maybe try and contest, but no, this is going to be completely gone.
All right, 2 more to go for V5, 1 still for Vici Gaming. The time back up to 5 minutes. We're 28 minutes into this game to speak of the devil. And we got a 4K gold lead from V5. We've got Sam D who's heading towards that third item. You talked about the Death Stance. I know you want to see Blade of the Ruined King, but I guess we have to wait one more.
I was more curious to see what was going to happen on this bottom side, because I feel like Wei Wei and Mo actually wouldn't really scratch Cube right now. Like, you saw Sam D and Wei Wei trying to put some sort of damage onto him, but you just can't get through this Scion right now.
You know that Grave's going to get Death Stance as well, by the way. I was looking at him, I'm like, yeah, he won't do too much damage, but still, Obsidian Cleaver with Death Stance. The rest of Vici, he will. Wei Wei is still hyper accelerated here after what was that triple kill earlier in the game. What other items interest you here, Dagda?
Well, the Shurelya's is always nice on PP God on the Bard, and it's an item that started to sneak back into the meta a little bit just because of how quickly you can find follow-ups on these picks, especially for a Bard. But even for the likes of a Thresh and that, it's started to become a little bit of a go-to item, so then you can just very quickly find these opportunities to engage, disengage, or whatever kind of you need to fit in the situation.
Agent 009, you know, Mr. PP God. This is, by the way, 100% kill participation alongside the Graves. Also, same with Mole. Almost for Bubu. He missed out on one kill. But coming back to the point, I mean, for a comp like this that has the all-in potential, it's going to come in handy. And, you know, team fighting item for the team fighting team of V5 and how they're set up for these comps heading towards the later game.
Vici, though, have now kind of passed the corner, though, when it comes to the items. So iBoy's got his Phantom Dancer, he's got that last Whisper as well. So he's going to be so strong in these fights as long as he avoids the Tempered Fate.
Yeah, will be dodged away. 3 members sitting mid. Cube has the ulti to re-engage at level 16. Look at where Mole is versus Forge. They're going to spot each other out. Le Yen moving into transition as well. Baron sitting back available. B5 have River priority, and mid-waves are crashing in.
iBoy's hit that 1v5 potential essentially now, where especially after just finishing off that Mortar Reminder, he's going to be so good against a lot of these Death Stances and also being able to get through Ornn. Yep. And when you've got so much frontline here in Forge, Leanne, and Cube, he should be relatively untouched, especially with the way Hung has been playing so far, and just taking a step back from the fight and providing appeal and also that safety in the Lantern.
But we found Forge. He wanted to find PP God. Rest of V5, or Vici rather, coming for support as Mole. Shielded around, it's Wei Wei going forward. Now has to back away, the onslaught into the wall. Cube finds no one, but absorbs damage all the same. Call the Forge God from behind from Cubu. They're layered, lined up. A 4-man ulti, and it's Cube who goes down first. V5 had the numbers advantage with the stolen Call the Forge God from Forge. Only hits the tank. Vici are throwing and grasping at straws. The death sentence is low. And V5 know exactly where to go.
That could have been a lot worse of a fight. That last Cosmic Binding coming out from the Bard got stuck on the Raptor, so wasn't actually able to connect onto Liam, but may not be done quite yet.
They're not going towards the Baron.
Look at PP God's ult. It's just about to come back up.
As Tempered Fate. Oh, it's got iBoy. The Dark Passage there, the smoke screen. They blind him. They knock him up. They get another good Q from PP God. Mole runs into Forge. The Justice Punch with the shields and the Winds of War. And it's war that V5 are declaring on Vici Gaming.
Vici Gaming are not having fun with Tempered Fates this game and end up catching iBoy just on the edge. Oh, even Bubu actually stopping the back of Leanne here, so they can continue this push in.
The most fed members down. They got two dead. It's 3 versus 5 for 30 seconds. Tempered Fate stolen, gets the minion wave to try and slow this game down.
They're going to try and stop it. You got iBoy here, still 20 seconds before he's
also
up.
a tank, another double searing charge here. Bubu has just nailed down these last 2 fights. Cube to absorb the pressure again. The Unstoppable Onslaught into 5 members. Survives for now. Stops game 1 from ending. V5 will back away.
V5 are going to back, but it means that they haven't had time to go towards the Baron. They would have loved to been able to pick that up, because then you would have had that Baron up for this next Dragon fight. And they need to back super quick, because if Hun can stop a few of these, it's still a 30-second march out towards the Dragon that they want. So they need to get back so they can try and contest for this Dragon.
But you're starting to see the damage coming out of Sam D, and Hung makes one step in the wrong direction. He gets half health like that as we get a replay of this great ulti from PP God and iBoy. Q, watch the Q. Yeah.
Well,
oh my god, it follows him.
So that's the thing, is because of the timing on the Cosmic Binding from PP God, he manages to catch the edge of iBoy's hitbox, and the way that Cosmic Binding works is it then shoots out from that connecting hitbox after it's hit it. So if iBoy is shooting that entire way back towards Hung, it's always going to end up as a 2-man stun, and you see it there. They managed to get the kill off the back of it.
PP God is literally the bigger support. This was a battle of size between Hung and V5's support. He's 0-0 and 13, and right now he's looking large and in charge. Triple Mountain secured with Mountain Soul on the Rift, but honestly, at this point, if V5 find another fight, this game's over.
Yeah, Vici need to try and find a little bit of a stronger team fight. Their last one, just before we saw that big Tempered Fate in towards the mid lane, was very messy, with Cube not being able to block a lot of these damages that were coming in from Sam D, from Weiwei, and Mole as well, who's able to toss these Winds of War on towards iBoy. So they need to find a much more structured team fight so they can use this health bar of Cube to their best advantage and allow iBoy to carry.
I wish we could see the Silas ult timeout from what he has right now. He has a Call of the Forge God stolen from BuBu, but the thing is, you know that once an ulti's been stolen, it has a bit of a window before it can be stolen again. That's a big ulti not to have for the potential last fight, as PP God is looking for picks with the vision gap here against Vici. Luryen will spot him out. Forge still with the stolen BuBu ulti. Red buff spawns, this will be a point of contention for now. The death sentence doesn't hit the Ornn. It's going to be the re-engage with Call the Forge God. Forge has his own, but he's stuck against the wall. Winds of War doesn't do too much damage. Sam D is over the wall, hitting his own Qs as we speak. The death sentence lands, but it's onto BuBu. They have a re-engage tool. Mole hits 3 once again. The Shield of Duran will only bait them in as Forge. Re-engage December, the Tempered Fate into the backline, locks down 3, but iBoy is still alive. 4 versus 5, V5 are losing this fight as from nowhere comes the Shurikens. Vici Gaming sent everyone in. Sam D left alone. He'll take one with his ulti. He's kited back, and he's doing so much damage. Cube running away as well, gets tagged on the back end of the trade. BuBu survived for long enough, but will eventually go down. Arcane shift across the wall while Sam D and Weiwei try and carry the rest of this fight. I don't know how, but these two AD carries are still big and in charge.
They are trying to battle it out so desperately to push their team to the victory line. But iBoy had the best guns possible, the Calibrum and Severum, plus that big front line consistently in front of him, absorbing all these mystic shots, making sure Mole and Weiwei can't get on top of them. So iBoy's free-firing this entire time, and although Sam D's able to bring back a little bit of that towards the end of it, you're seeing the strength of this Aphelios now rising up.
Those 4 items, the QSS, iBoy stays healthy. We'll watch again. It was all played in this show.
But look at where iBoy is right now. Nobody can touch him. It's impossible for them to get around. He's free hitting this entire time. And because he's got that Calibrum, he's able to stay at an arm's length away from everyone and just keep free firing this whole time.
Look at the chakras. Oh my god. But then Sam D survives through all of this.
And Sam D's turnaround here is super impressive. Having the presence of mind when you just see your team being slaughtered in front of you, to arcane shift aggressively forward, get into a position where you can finish off a few of these crucial kills, because there is the potential there that if Vici end up backing away, surviving that fight, Cube goes home, teleports in towards Baron, and then they can just look to either win another team fight off of V5 trying to contest the Baron, or they get that Baron. So Sam D, with that play, saving V5.
It's iBoy versus Sam D and Weiwei.
And we've got nearly that Blade of the Rune King here for Sam D. He's got the Cutlass, so working up towards that. And when that finishes...
Hang on, Call the Forge God going to be used onto the back line. The Tempered Fate yet again locks down 2 members. The Hero's Entrance going to be timed perfectly. iBoy has to flash away. He turns to PP God, but now bad positioning as Hung will go down first. But forward will go Weiwei. That's a trade, and that's your Fed Graves out of the way.
And there's nothing that Sam D can really do to answer back here because there's too many creeps. Now they're gone,
though! Oh no, the Cosmic Binding again lands. Luryen locked down. They go forward with a searing charge, and Luryen is down. Did PP God just do it again? This support comes out of nowhere, left field with his 80 carry and Sam D, and size matters here in the LPL because V5 are coming up ginormous.
PP God with the Cosmic Binding for victory 5. That was incredible. Locks down Lian, gets the cleanse from iBoy, and gets the win for V5.
A big win for V5 after finding a lead. They got tested, but in the end, this bottom lane sizes up Vici in game 1.
What absolute monsters. I love watching Sam D and PP God managing to not only have this incredible Ezreal performance, but I'm pretty sure that was across the board.